Heat lost to Philly last night. There's a couple things that can be discussed from this game, but obviously the big thing that everybody's going to be talking about is the way Tyler Herro kind of got picked on in the fourth quarter. Philly's guards, Philly's forwards were all just pretty much going at him and trying to draw that switch. Uh, but I do feel like there is more to it than just saying uh, Tyler was just getting picked on and there's no other way to counter it. Like it feels like it's a team thing that they kind of try to eliminate it. So I just want to go through the possessions and explain why. Let's start with the first one. They were pretty much going to this double dribble handoff just to kind of set up Tyrese Maxey on Tyler Herro. And as I go back one more time, just look how easy it is to switch. Miami was just basically giving whatever switch that Philly wanted. The thing is here, it's probably better that Tyler guards Tyrese Maxey, as crazy as it sounds, because do you want him guarding Tobias Harris, who can kind of body him down low and bring him down to the post? Probably not. So they switch right here. He actually stays with them. Tyrese Maxey just hits a tough pull up. He's kind of there. He knocks it down. Next one, same type of double dribble handoff. Goes to Tobias, goes to Maxey. Herro switches onto him, and it goes right by him. Bam's late on the help, and he gets a lane. We'll go through some of these really quickly. Another one, dribble handoff. This time, Tyler sticks through, and he's staying on Tobias. Caleb Martin staying with Tyrese Maxey. Look what happens. He pretty much stops him. Okay, now we're going to go at Tyler again. We're going to give it to Tobias. We're going to clear out a little bit. Caleb's trying to help with the nail. He gets to his spot, and he scores on Tyler. All of that stuff is a bit problematic. But if I go back one more time and I show who's on the floor right here, this is the reason I think it's problematic more than anything. You look at, the Caleb and Lowry switching is whatever. But the reason that Tyler can't be hidden right here is because Max Strus is on the floor. And he has to guard Korkmaz in the corner, who's kind of a one-dimensional shooter in a lot of ways, who actually had a really good night. But you have to kind of put Tyler at the top here on one of these guys, because even if you talk about Shake Milton in this other corner, he had it going as well. So Max Strus being on the floor kind of eliminated being able to hide Tyler in a lot of ways. So now as they scored 3 straight times, as I flow into the next couple of possessions, now they bring in Jimmy. So now you have a Kyle, Herro, Caleb, Jimmy, Bam lineup. So now you should be able to hide Tyler, right? But it was interesting because as I look right here at the start of this, Jimmy's the one guarding Korkmaz, and Tyler's still at that point of attack being able to guard these guys, which I feel like that is more problematic than anything. Now start the play. Tyler's going to switch again. Now he finds himself on Tobias Harris. Speaking of Jimmy, not only are you going to put Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo on that weak side on two, DeAndre Jordan and Korkmaz, but you also see right here, they're the reason why they kind of gave up this possession. Finally, they throw in a double at Tobias Harris. Kyle comes over for really nice help. As I go back and play it in full speed, he's going to have some nice help right here because obviously they needed to. But as you're going to see on the backside, Jimmy and Bam have miscommunication, at least to a wide open 3. Jimmy doesn't fight through the screen. Jimmy seems to think Bam is supposed to switch out right there. Bam doesn't. So it's a miscommunication. It ends up in an open 3. But it's not even that element that's big time. It's more about why are those the matchups? It just didn't really seem right that it's not just hiding Max Strus on a guy. It's like Jimmy Butler enters and does the same thing. Another one, same thing. Tyler Herro finds himself on an island, which is another element of this isn't a switch. Like this wasn't, before this point, this wasn't Tyler switching onto Tobias Harris. This was Tyler picking up Tobias Harris in transition defense. Like he was going to guard him. I guess that was his matchup on this possession. They weren't even trying to go in any other direction. Right here, he goes into that weak side. Bam comes over for a late help. It's just a tough shot. That is one of those really just tough shots. Tobias Harris, but having that extra length, could shoot over the top of you. Now, the final play. Finally, now that there's, right after that play, the one I just showed, they called timeout. That is 3 minutes later from when the first possession happened that Tyrese Maxey started picking on Tyler. So that's 3 minutes later. Now we're at the 3-minute mark of the fourth quarter. And now what do we see? We see Tyler on Korkmaz, and we see the correct matchups all around with Lowry guarding Maxey, Jimmy guarding Tobias, Caleb on Milton, and Bam guarding DeAndre Jordan. You have the perfect matchups now. So let's see what happens. You're able to, can they still pick on you? It's hard to, because you're either going to have to, they're going to fight through now that this is happening. The only thing that can happen is they have to work everything through Korkmaz. Right here, Jimmy goes through, they get it to Korkmaz. They're going to try the same exact thing to now work everything through Korkmaz on Tyler Herro. And as you see, look what happens. He forces up a wild shot that's not going to go in 9 times out of 10, and they stop him. It's a lot on Tyler Herro being able to, pick on him late in games, as many are talking about. But I feel like there's a lot more things. There's a team aspect to this. There's fighting through screens. There's trying to pick up on certain matchups that are there, and obviously playing the correct five when you see it beginning to happen. Because it's one thing to say that they could pick on one, poor defender on the floor, but when you're putting two out there, you just can't hide guys. Like that's just going to happen, and you have to live with that result if that's the way you want to go. But for me, it's just more about matchups lining up next to certain guys. And maybe a part of it, I think PJ Tucker would have been on the floor if this was a real game. I think this was a rest aspect of just letting Caleb ride it out because he had it going in this game. But it just feels like there's a lot more aspects to this than maybe what people are talking about.